Hello everybody and welcome back. We're looking at question number 21 on the 2003 Pascal paper. A straight, one-way street has 8 consecutive traffic lights. Every light remains green for 1.5 minutes, yellow for 3 seconds, and red for 1.5 minutes. The lights are synchronized so that each light turns red 10 seconds after the preceding one turns red. And I would say that since the lights are sort of all on the same timer, this one goes green for 1.5 minutes, and then it goes yellow for 3 and red for 1.5, and then the next one goes green for, and so on. That because the red lights change 10 seconds apart, then the green lights and yellow lights will also change 10 seconds apart. Okay? The lights all have the same pattern, they're just each 10 seconds delayed after the previous one. So they mention only the red part, but they'll turn green, and the next one will turn green 10 seconds later. And then the next one will turn green 10 seconds later, and so on. Same with turning yellow. Okay, so that's something to note. What is the longest interval of time, in seconds, during which all 8 lights are green? Okay. So, when will that occur? Well, let's draw a little bit of a picture, maybe help us conceptualize what's going on. So we have a sort of a straight city street. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of city lights. Okay, if we wanted to, we could even have the little, there's red, and there's yellow, and there's green. Okay, so we could have all of these. But the point is, we're trying to find the longest stretch in which they're all green lights. Okay. So, if they're turning green, how do I want to say this? There sort of has to be one light that just turned green, and then the next light and then one of the other lights, probably not that one, one of the other lights will eventually then turn yellow, breaking the cycle. So one will be the last light to turn up green, and that's when our time for all green lights starts, and then eventually one of the other lights will turn yellow, and that will break the cycle. So we're trying to measure that stretch right there. Okay, so what could happen? Well, we could have, we sort of need to pick the light that last turns green. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So once we decide which is the last light that's going to turn green, the light that will turn yellow is the one that's been green the longest at that point, which will likely be the next light or the first light if our last green light is the last one. So, what can we say? So, let's suppose maybe this one right here, the fourth one, is the last to turn green. Okay. Can that even happen? Can this guy turn green while this guy has already been green for a while? Well, let's reread the question. This is a bit of a word question, so I'm trying to work it out a little bit. So, if this is the last light to turn green... No, now I'm confused again. This shouldn't be that hard a question. It's only 21 on the Pascal. I should be able to get this a lot quicker. So I'm pretty sure the last light that we want to turn green is the last one. I'm just trying to find a way to justify that. And maybe that's nothing that you care about right now, but I like trying to be really exact. Okay, so if any one of these ones is the last light to turn green, not this last one, but let's say the fourth one is the last one to turn green. Well, then 1.5 minutes later, it'll turn yellow. And then 3 seconds after that, it'll turn red. And then 10 seconds after that, this one will turn red. And then 1.5 minutes after that, the fourth one will turn green, and then 10 seconds later, the next one will turn green. So there's no way that any one of the first 7 lights can be the last to turn green, because 10 seconds later, the next light would turn green. Okay, so it can't have already been green. It would have to be red during that time period. Right? There's no way for the 8th one it's no reason for the 8th one to already be green and have the 7th one be just turn green, right? There'd be no way for that to happen, because 10 seconds later, the 8th one would have to turn green. That's the way their cycles are built. Okay. So, the last light to turn green is the last, or 8th, light. Okay. If it's just turned green, it's got a full 1.5 minutes of turning green. Okay. But who's the one that's going to screw up next? Okay. Well, let's say we're at time 0. It just turned green. That means you know what? It's gonna get messy. So let's redraw our picture here. Not much of a picture, mind you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights. Okay, so we start timing when this last one turns green, and we know that's when we should be timing. So that one turns green at time 0. 10 seconds before that, the 7th one turned green. So he's already 10 seconds into his 1.5 minutes of being green. Okay, so if he's the next one to turn yellow, if he's the one to break this all up, then we'll have 1.5 minutes minus 10 seconds of greenness. But the one before him has been green for 20 seconds. The one before him, green for 30, green for 40, green for 50, green for 60, and the very first light in our sequence has been green for 70 seconds. Okay. It's already been green for 70 seconds here. So it's only supposed to be green for 1.5 minutes. Well, 1.5 minutes is 90 seconds. So 20 seconds later, it will turn yellow, and that's what breaks our streak. So we're looking for 20 seconds. Okay? And I imagine you were just supposed to, with the Pascal, you're not really supposed to think too logically about what's going on. Think logically, but not to the point where it's a rigorous proof at the level that you might see in a university math class. I imagine most people sat down and said, yeah, obviously the last light is the one that's going to go green last, and the first light's going to have been on green the longest, and so this doesn't turn out to be too difficult a calculation. I wasted a whole bunch of time trying to reason my way through and give very detailed sort of proof-style explanation as to why the 8th one, the last one, has to be the last one to turn green. And, of course, you don't need to worry too much about that. So C is going to be our answer, and that's about it. And we can move on to question number 22. I'll see you guys then.